All this noise about Sarah Palin has been really revealing to me. The acrimony and the quick divisions into camps between those who excoriate her and those who are ready to support her every move would be funny if it weren't so sad. While accusations and rumor are blurted and then repeated without any relationship to facts. What's behind all this furor? Do you have to subscribe to a certain narrow political ideology in order to have street cred with those who are the keepers of societal legitimacy? Now, I come from a generation of women who are making some of the loudest noises. Women my age are the ones who reacted to their mothers, who were lived in split levels in the suburbs in the 50s. The women that I went to school with were capable, ambitious young women who were determined to go further than their own mothers, to be able to do whatever their brains could dream up to do. I remember in a psychology class learning about Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is a list of human needs that we all have in order to be able to function. And the first is just food, the basic fuel that your body needs to move forward. Your brain can't dream big dreams if you are wondering where your next meal is going to come from. After food is bodily protection, clothing and shelter. And once those needs are met, then psychological needs become really important. The need for the human need for love and belonging. Then lastly, Maslow talks about self-actualization. I remember when I first learned about this term, it was exciting to me because that's why I was in college. To actuate is to put something in motion. To self-actuate is to put yourself in motion. Maslow defines it this way, that self-actualization is a person being able to be and to do what they are born to do. Now, my mother was a college graduate. My grandmother was a college graduate. Intelligent, caring, active women were valued in my home. And I went to college during the late 60s. I was fortunate to be able to study at an Ivy League university, and this was during a time of great national upheaval. We were questioning and challenging everything. It was a great time to be learning. I felt like that's what I was born to do, was to be questioning things. And I enrolled in a course called The Evolution of Female Personality. It was really a groundbreaking, one of the first courses on feminism given at the university level. I considered myself one of those feminists. Proudly was I calling myself a feminist. But it was in discussions in that class where my thinking started to change. Now, during that time, there was a battle raging over the idea that anatomy, or the equipment of a woman's body, anatomy meant destiny, that would have to dictate what she was going to have to be stuck doing all her life. The leaders of this course used every opportunity to challenge any notion of there being any differences between the sexes. They said that these things were socialized upon us by a society that was determined to keep women at home. Now, this was strange to me for two reasons. First of all, it hadn't been my experience that women were only quarantined at home. And secondly, it seemed to me that if we were going to be studying female personality, that we should at least consider a woman's anatomy as part of the equation and a man's anatomy as part of the equation in understanding the relationship between the sexes, in order to be able to get some understanding of human behavior. I'm a designer, and form has a relationship to function, and so it was a natural question. And I wrote about these things in my journal, but my TA just couldn't even tolerate my questions. It was really strange. There seemed to be a really strong and unobjective reaction going on amongst the women who were the leaders of the women's movement in the 60s. They were rabid about any suggestion that a woman might find some significance in having a baby. And what was most troubling to me, I remember it was really kind of a sad watershed moment as I sat there in one of those discussions one day, imagining, because here we are in the ivory tower, stridently asserting certain things that'll eventually be parroted out into the mainstream. According to the women teaching my course, a checkout girl who got daycare for her baby was more liberated than a woman who decided to leave her job and stay home with her baby. Liberated from what? And liberated to what? I really think that the root of the radical feminist movement, at least from my generation, comes out of a visceral hatred of anything that they think is going to threaten their self-will. Too many of these women are actualizing out of an angry fear, fear of anything that they perceive is going to threaten their own bodies. And this is what I think is actually fueling a lot of this reaction to Sarah Palin. So now we come to this present moment. We have a woman from out west who's chosen to actualize herself. She has a brain, and she seems to know how to use it, though they say that she didn't go to the right colleges. She has a competitive spirit and seems to have leadership instincts, and she's parodied as a cheerleader. She's actually succeeded in taking on entrenched interests in her state, and yet she's dismissed as a lightweight. She has a large family, and here's where she gets really excoriated. One comment said of her is that she's white trash. My goodness. And they're not even embarrassed when they say things like this. I really think that the so-called feminists from my generation have really exposed themselves as the gender bigots that they actually are. In rejecting their femaleness, or at least portions of their femaleness, they have to be committed to reject anyone who celebrates her femininity. It seems for them that the idea of a politically diverse group of women who might have different views politically, but who are caring, who are involved, who have different opinions, is threatening to them. I made a decision to move away from their provincialism a long time ago, and I've been much the better for it. Sarah Palin seems to be a member of a new breed. She did her athletics, for example, after Title IX was passed, so she didn't have to fight some of the same battles that my generation had to fight in order to even be able to compete. She gives gracious acknowledgement to those women that have gone before, but she's not shy about entering the arena now. She saw a need in her community, and she stepped up. She was not seeking national office when she was noticed for her guts and her political instincts. She doesn't feel that she needs to apologize for her femininity or disguise it. In fact, watching her the other night on TV, I thought, here's a woman who's comfortable in her own skin. And that says a lot to me about the psychological base from which she'll be leading others. It makes me feel comfortable. She's a woman to watch, I think. And it looks like she's doing what she was born to do.